What's going on, FA Nation? John Pemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Preview Show. We're looking at the Friday 10-game main slate. Your boy James Grande will be on that day's playbook. Sir Grande, how we doing, man?
We are doing well. Fun slate. Lots of good teams. I think we continue our Coors Field initiative with Washington in town. Finally, the Dodgers are out of course. It's been a long, seemingly a month series there, but looking forward to this breakdown.
Yes, we are. We do have maybe some weather in New York here. Atlanta, New York should be a fun series if that one kicks off. DraftKings also doesn't know who's pitching for Houston, so they just listed every single Houston Astros pitcher.
They announced it. Okay. It's a double-A. He's getting called up from double-A.
Okay. Well, DraftKings doesn't have that yet. So
when I figure out the name, I'll let you know.
Okay, sounds good. So obviously Verlander was supposed to start, got put on the IL. So not starting Verlander. DraftKings doesn't have that pitcher yet listed. So just keep that in mind as you see all these Houston Astros starters going up against Baltimore.
Jake Bloss is his name. Bloss. He is the starter for that.
Not on the player pool. Maybe he'll get added into the player pool. Otherwise, like you said, some pretty good matchups here. Atlanta and New York, not necessarily one of them, but Chris Sale is your top price starting pitcher. Dylan Cease against Milwaukee. We have Grayson Rodriguez against Houston. George Kirby against Miami feels like could be the chalk of this slate. Evaldi, $8,900. Rodon. We're hitting, a top end of a lot of these pitching staffs here. If we're breaking down these pitchers, which are your favorites to begin lineups with?
Yeah. So obviously Sale in a tough spot. But you can definitely go there if you can navigate Judge Soto. Cease was apparently in a good spot against the Mets. That didn't matter. He got torched. He always has a ceiling, but I don't think we need to go there. Grayson, tough spot. I think it's Kirby at the top for me and pretty much everyone else. You could probably get to Nathan. You could probably sell me on Nathan Evaldi at 8,900 against KC. He was terrible his last time out.
Yeah.
But I think it's really like Kirby until you get to like Bailey Ober. And that's someone I would consider strongly coming off his best start of the year against this Oakland team.
Yeah.
And he had been, if you looked at some of the peripheral numbers for Bailey Ober, very unlucky going into that start, and now has the same matchup again in even better pitching environment in Oakland.
Yeah, no. Again, he's had some really tough outings of late. Coming off of Oakland. I guess my worry sometimes is when these guys pitch against the same team back-to-back starts.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, this should be a spot certainly that you would want to go ahead and go to him for. You have Boston in Cincinnati. You have Cutter Crawford here coming off a 9 strikeout game against New York. We know the strikeouts can be there. We know Cincinnati struggles against right-handed pitching. I don't think I would hate Cutter Crawford, especially given how Boston's offense has been. But we got to go back and ask the same question we always do. There he is, Abbott here at 8K. You get the lefty versus Boston. Do you think he's a spot to go to with the strikeout potential?
Dude, it really hasn't worked out. Who was it the other day that it happened again?
Got leveled.
Kikuchi got absolutely leveled. It's just, I think that we're starting to see, especially with how good Tyler O'Neill has been, when Tyler O'Neill's in that lineup, like it's just a completely different lineup. Ref Snyder's been really good against lefties. He's playing every day. Tyler O'Neill. So, I mean, if you want to play Abbott, fine. It's not like the best ballpark for this. 13 home runs
by the way,
year.
Just for the comments there, he gave up 4 home runs in that game in 4 innings. He still had 7 strikeouts in 4 innings.
Sure. I mean,
obviously, Great American Small Park home runs.
Yeah, that's the part that's gonna hang me up a little bit. That the home run upside for Boston is so prevalent. In a tournament, I'm okay with getting that.
Okay.
Same thing goes for Crawford, who also is getting bit by home runs right now, which he wasn't at all in the beginning of the year. Didn't allow a home run in his first 5-6 starts of the year, and now has 10 in his last 9 starts. So something to keep in.
Yeah, I agree with you. We have Knack here against the Angels. You know that they're going to be favorites. He's pitching pretty well. Yep. Hasn't totally jumped off the page yet, but you're a Dodger, right? So you're going to have the win equity behind you here at $7,600.
Yeah, hasn't pitched in a little bit, but he's obviously been in the minors pitching there. Is expected to make the start here per Fangraphs as well on their probable page. So, yeah, I like Knack. The Angels have been really, really dreadful against right-handed pitching. So,
Yeah.
also there.
Any value for you? Would you attempt like a Trevor Rogers versus Seattle? I mean, we just tried the Logan Allen experience. It wasn't all that fun.
Yeah. Rogers is fine. I mean, I don't know where the strikeouts went with Trevor Rogers. He's a guy who used to strike out a lot of
Yeah.
people before the injury. Maybe that's the reason. There was, I believe, Tommy John, right? Last year, the year before, he
Yeah,
missed
that might have been the injury. I know you shut down, so.
So I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't necessarily have much interest really anywhere else, and maybe that will change by the time tomorrow rolls around.
Sure. Let's move on over to catcher here. Again, we usually look for the value on this slate. Connor Wong's $3,500 against Abbott. It feels pretty good in the mid tier. Sean Murphy homered twice. I know Carlos Rodon's been pretty good. We didn't mention Rodon. Are we full fade Atlanta now with the way they're swinging the bat?
Yes, especially with a lefty.
Okay. What are you looking at for catcher then?
Kybert, 38 in Coors.
Sure.
I think is still probably a little bit too cheap. Garver gets a lefty. Garver's been pretty good against left-handed pitching. The only split he can really hit. Connor Wong, you mentioned. Sean Murphy. He double donged the other day. He looked 4 hits. He gets a lefty.
As I said, the Rodon, like how afraid are we of Carlos Rodon right now?
Yeah, I'm not all that afraid.
Okay. Value, it'll come out. We'll be able to put a line together. James and I will be back live at 5 p.m. Eastern time, everybody, as well. So make sure you tune in, hit the like, hit the subscribe button to get notified when we go live. We'll have the official lineup so we can go ahead and put together a better idea of who's going to be in or out of the lineup at catcher. First base here. What do you think? Ohtani, Freeman, obviously in great spots here. Grande kind of pop back in for us here. Just run into his door real quick, so don't worry about him disappearing off the screen. Ohtani and Freeman up at the top. Ohtani obviously coming off of a monster game there against the Rockies. Monster series against the Rockies. You have Freeman, Olsen, but they are all lefties. I mean, does that worry you at all here, Grande?
Never. Ohtani homered twice against lefties in the Colorado series. He's been great. I know Coors is obviously Coors, but no worries. I've either guy, especially when that pitcher is Patrick Sandoval on the other side of the matchup.
Agreed. All right, we go down into the mid tier then. What do you think you're looking at? Nailers, $4,800. Vlad Guerrero gets Carrasco. Vladdy with the new haircut. Not sure if you saw that or not. Cut his hair for the first time in 10 years.
That's insane.
Thoughts on the mid tier to first base?
Naylor for sure in play. Toglia gets a lefty. He's homering. He had a couple home runs in a couple of big games recently. 4,400 in Coors. So I like Toglia. I like Naylor in the mid tier. If Candelario plays, I would like Candelario because he continues to hit. So those would be the 3 guys that I like in the mid.
Okay. I can go down to Ryan O'Hearn here as well. Jake Bloss is, like you mentioned, never pitched above AA. Obviously pitching very well at the minor league level this year. 1.74 ERA in 12 starts, but he started in high A. He's made 8 starts at AA, 1.6 ERA there, but not a huge strikeout guy. Usually you see these guys go and like put up gaudy strikeout numbers at the minor league level. Less than a K per 9 or strikeout per 9 there on the per inning rather for him. So Ryan O'Hearn, obviously we see what Baltimore's offense doing right now to Louis Hill, ran him out of the game and for the second inning there. So there's certainly some appeal I think for me there. Carlos Santana homered again, $3,700 for him against Joe Yestis, and then Miranda also homered today. And you've mentioned him a few times as a guy that's starting to heat up. I brought up the fact that he hit for a lot of power at the minor league level, and that power really never has shown at the major league level. But 7 homers now already, I think 8 in accounting today. So want to get some cheap twins in your lineup. I think you can do it against Estes.
Yeah, he hits righties. He's been surprisingly good against righties, and they moved him up to the 2nd spot in the lineup. Makes you wonder. There was no Willie Castro. We'll see what they do with Miranda's batting slot on Friday, but if he's still hitting, like, I mean, I'm assuming it's still going to be top 5 in the lineup. If they're somewhere in that spot, like prime real estate for Miranda in the lineup.
Agreed. Anybody else for you down here?
Nothing that I see. Maybe some Locklear for the Mariners, righty lefties,
Okay.
but not anything.
Second base here. Albies versus lefty at 53. Altuve against Grayson. I don't really know if I want to attack that matchup necessarily. Semion's got Singer here. Where you're looking at top of second?
Top of second, probably Bryce Terang. Just righty lefty, and with how Cease has been so wishy-washy. Cronenworth for sure against Colin Ray. We can continuously have talked about how bad Colin Ray has been against left-handed bats. Like
Ray's on a pretty good stretch right now of just like general production. But right, Cincinnati, Toronto, Philadelphia, Chicago, Boston, like hasn't given him more than 2 earned runs in any of his last 5. I haven't looked into the peripheral numbers there to see if any of that is more luck than performance, but you're not wrong. Historically speaking, like we've been in on lefties versus Colin Ray there.
So if the numbers do translate, I'm going to pull them up eventually here. I do think that there could be some merit to get into Cronenworth. Luis Garcia Jr., 4,400. He hits righties really, really well, about 290 on the year. Willie Castro has been on a tear, had Thursday off. He'll lead off against Joey Estes. I like that spot. So there's
You've been a Spencer Horowitz guy. You got him against Carrasco here.
And you've been a Dylan Moore guy right above him. He gets a lefty again. And Dylan Moore had another big monster game. Dylan Moore just has monster games. He doesn't do anything else. Like home run, stolen base, one game. Like he just feels like he needs to do everything in one day. Like good for him. He wants to, have productive days. I like both. Horowitz, another 2 hits. There's like no power here, or he hasn't at least showed it. He didn't have any of the AAA level either. But he's just obviously like a good overall hitter. Reached base 3 times. Just tough when you're leading off, getting on base 3 times, and you're not scoring runs. Like that just shows you that nobody behind you is hitting. So if he's going to continue to hit at the top of the lineup, I have interest.
Yeah, I would agree with you there for sure. Carlos Carrasco versus lefties here, 372 WOBA, 289 batting average. So definitely a spot for him. And we know the more ISO numbers. Again, Homer today had a pretty big day. Miguel Rojas gets the lefty, 3,300. Didn't do much in that matchup on Thursday, but maybe he gets it going here against Patrick Sandoval. Anybody else for you at second?
Nope.
Moving on over to third, where we have Royce Lewis against Joey Estes at $5,800.
He exists in the world for sure.
Homered again because he doesn't know what slumping is. So
no, he doesn't.
5,800. I don't see a reason to pay for any of the other top guys.
No.
I would one off Lewis. I would put him, it just,
Probably one off Riley or something,
sure.
Just given how good he's been and how good he's been against lefties.
Yep. I would agree with you. Mid-tier guys, anybody particular? You can play more here as well if you wanted to.
Nothing. Josh Smith, another good game the other day. 11 fantasy points, 21 fantasy points. He's been rolling lately. 360 average, over 1,000 OPS in his last 10 games. So Josh Smith, 3,900. Play Miranda here. Can't play LeMahieu. He continues to suck.
Yeah.
Cavan's not going to be in the lineup. Kike will get a lefty. Probably don't want to play him outside of fours. Yeah, that's probably it.
Shortstop. Bobby Witt up at the top. Ellie De La Cruz.
Oh, wait, no. Sorry. Barger for the you mentioned Carrasco against lefties. Addison Barger. He had 2 hits the other day for the Blue Jays. 2 for 4, a run scored and a double. He was good at AAA. 4 hits in the last since being called up. He has a hit more in 4 straight.
Yeah, $2,200. I don't hate it on a big slate like that. 10 games. Back to shortstop here. Witt and Ellie are your top 2 guys. Gunnar. I feel like Gunnar versus a AA kid probably is a matchup we want to take advantage of there. Gunnar already 2 for 2 with 2 runs scored in this game here. against New York here today. Tovar against a lefty and Coors at 51. Looks pretty good there as well. Carlos Correa keeps being a menace.
Yep.
So you got that for sure.
I would say De La Cruz at home, Gunnar, Seager, and Correa were the 4 I had my eyes on. Ceddanne Rafaela, 3,500 is going to be a plug and play for all my lineups. As long as he continues to hit like this, there's just
at $3,500.
Yeah, right? it's the hits, it's the price, it's the home run. He's another guy who just does everything in bunches, like 3 hit games, 2 home run games, home run stolen base game. Like he's doing all of that, like continuously.
3 hits in 3 of the last 4 games.
Crazy. Like, and the one crap game he had 2 for 3 home run. What a bad game that was.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that. Orlando Arcia does get Rodon at 3K. It's pretty cheap for him.
Boy, he fell back.
If they play Romy Gonzalez, like they hit him 6th the other day.
2 stolen bases, right? The other day too.
Yeah. So I mean, like, if he's gonna hit 6th, I don't know, man. It's Romy Gonzalez, right? But the Red Sox lineup's been kind of weird, and they've all been productive. So
good.
I'd probably give it a look. Nothing else down here for me. Anything for you?
No, sir.
Alrighty. Outfield. Obviously, we've talked about these guys. Ohtani, you got Judge versus Sale, Ozuna versus Rodon, Soto versus Sale. So, Ohtani's got the easiest of that matchup. Teoscar against Sandoval, 54. Kwan against Rodriguez at 53, probably a guy we're going to look at here.
The league leader in batting, I'm definitely interested. Right. It's crazy that we'd be paying 53 for Kwan, but he's averaging 10 fantasy points per game, and he's not even running. That's the craziest part. He's not even stealing bases, and we're getting this production from Steven Kwan. So, yeah, everything you mentioned plus Steven Kwan for sure.
I'm trying to see if there's any other standouts as we work our way down.
Lane Thomas.
Julio Rodriguez on FanDuel the other day was like 3K. I got at some point he's going to snap out of it. I'm not paying the $5,100 on FanDuel on DraftKings, but if he's 3K again against Trevor Rogers, like I'd very much consider that. Lane Thomas, though, I would play against Hudson here at $5,100. Tyler O'Neill, 4 homers over the last 10. I mean, that's a smart play.
Yeah, he crushes left-handed pitching too. In Great American, forget it. He's lived in Great American. He played in that division for years and years. He probably loves that ballpark.
Yep. Jesse Winker homered today. He continues to be on fire.
Where did this guy go for like the last 3 years?
Dude, I drafted him the year he went to Milwaukee. Was that last year? It's like, they got him out of Seattle. It'll be a breakout for him. Better hitter park. He did nothing last year. Got hurt again. But for sure, I think a great matchup in Colorado. We'll be looking at some Washington plays. Jacob Young will be an interesting spot down here as well for some value.
Rosario, 43.
Yeah.
Brenton Doyle, Taglia, 45-44. They'll both.
Dalton Varsho against Carrasco at 41.
Yep. Dalton Varsho.
Let's see here.
Your Adolis play at 4K.
He'll come around eventually.
I'm not doubting it. I'm just pointing out that it is too cheap for a guy with the ceiling that he has.
Yeah, you got Paez at 38 against the lefty.
With the lefty, yeah, that's for sure a good play. And finally, not a course priced Paez, right? Like he's back under 4K where he should be.
Ref Snyder at 36, gonna hit probably second.
Yeah,
so
second or third, one of the two. Yeah, for sure.
Mentioned Ceddanne already. Melendez has 2 doubles. I don't really want to attack Evaldi necessarily. Will Brennan homer twice? Does he keep it going against Rodriguez here?
Shout out Will Brennan. He might. He could.
I mean, if you're gonna stack some Cleveland, right? Like he's a cheap way to help fit.
Agreed.
Wyatt Langford's been pretty good. He's $30.
He has been really good.
Where's Jackson Merrill? Jackson Merrill's also been very good lately.
I was just going to the Colin Ray stats. So Colin Ray still has allowed, despite all this good stuff that he's done lately, 790 OPS to lefties.
Okay.
So we're getting the power from Jackson Merrill too, which has been really nice surprise.
Yep, these young kids, right? Rafaela, Langford, Merrill, they off to a slow start, get adjusted to major league pitching, and now they're all starting to come back around here. So
Miguel Vargas, 29, he'll be in the lineup.
Sure. Let's see.
You can play Romy Gonzalez in the outfield if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. See if there's anything else down here.
Bobby Dahlback and his 0.95 average?
Probably not. Probably not for me. All right. Martin probably gets in the lineup still, right? 25.
Yeah, he'll play.
All right. Let's get a lineup built then here.
Yeah, let's do it.
We liked Kirby and what? We had
the Dodgers kid, Knack.
Yeah, Knack. All right, Kirby and Knack. Catcher, I think we did Wong
or Kybert if we had the $300 probably to get up to.
We'll see if we can get that going here. First base.
Miranda?
Yeah, Miranda. I'm good with that. That's fine.
Unless we wanted to play him at third, we could do that.
Well, we wanted Royce Lewis at third,
sure,
right?
Royce Lewis exists.
Get that going there. All right. Second, we had Moore, right? Go against Rogers here.
Yep.
Shortstop, Rafaela. 4,200 for 3 outfielders, which we had Pajes. Gives us 45.
We get to Lane at 51.
Yeah, Lane Thomas.
Even though lefties or Winker, we could actually probably save some money and play Winker. I think lefties have been way better against Dakota Hudson.
Okay, 4,400. Do we just do Toglia on the other side of that?
Yeah, or Rosario and just double stack the Washington outfielders. Rosario's 43.
Okay, that works for me. Kirby, Knack, Wong, Miranda, Moore, Lewis, Rafaela, Pajes, Winker, Rosario. We got ourselves a little core stack going on. We got ourselves a twin stack with Lewis. A couple of one-off plays there. Again, we'll be back live at 5 p.m. Eastern time, everybody. So make sure you set your alarms for that. Until then, we'll catch you all later on today.